What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Mr. Straight Facts Show. I am Mr. Straight Facts. Today was a good day. At least it started out good. Some things happened, but it was a good day, especially for Virginia Giuffre and her family, and for some of the uh, the people within the Epstein files, the survivors. That the How can you say this? Let's just say it. Pedophile, formerly known as Prince Andrew, was arrested. What's up, Dennis? I see you woke, Mike. Um, it's an amazing thing to see. Now we know he didn't get arrested for Virginia Giuffre, right? Her family, her brother and her sister-in-law, were on the news and different other places, being interviewed and being very excited, and good for them. Even though this is one step, hey, celebrate every step that starts to break down this mountain of pedophiles and people who hid it. Even if you didn't partake in it, you just let it happen. So that's a good thing that happened today with Prince, the pedophile formerly known as Prince Andrew. Uh, and it was crazy too, because they started showing his clips of shit that he's been saying over the years, like, oh, I couldn't have done this, I didn't do that. Her recognizing how he sweats profusely, he literally says, well, that can't be true because I have this thing. He doesn't name the thing. Anybody else would be like, I got sweat dysphoria and I can't sweat. No, he didn't have that. I have this thing that doesn't allow me to sweat. Yeah, right. All right. But he says he can't sweat. Now we're on the lookout for every video of this man working out somewhere, doing something where he has sweat on his armpits. We're trying to find those pictures. At least I am, because I'm petty like that. So I want to go see if he sweated anywhere. This man was out in the sun, any sweat whatsoever. I'm looking for it. But that's what he had said in the past in one of these interviews, to try and negate himself. Now, one thing I'm starting to see is a pattern. When you start to watch the Les Wexner stuff as well, and you start to hear like Donald Trump speak, and you hear other people like Howard Lutnick speak, they all act like they exonerate themselves, so to speak, that, see, that right there couldn't be me because I did A, B, and C. It's like, so you're trying to exonerate yourself from the details that they gave by saying whatever the detail is, I don't have it, or I can't do that. That doesn't sound like me. For instance, if you watch this tape of the deposition of Leslie Wexner, he's asked a question about the people who exonerated. They let it out who who introduced Jeffrey Epstein to Leslie Wexner, because in the documents it says a friend or something like that, and they come out with the actual people's names. Last name is Macer, Bob and something Macer. I'm trying to find out who they are. I just found this out like a little bit earlier. Didn't get a chance to get into depth who they are. But if you watch it, it's probably within the first 10 minutes of the video. They're asking this question. And he says these are the people that introduced him. Now, in this situation of this Bob person or whatever that introduced him, last name Macer, I could say that. The wife and husband said that they was at some party, his 60th birthday party, that being Leslie Wexner's 60th birthday party. And at that party, they told him to stay clear of Jeffrey Epstein. Don't do any business with Jeffrey Epstein. And instead of answering the question right out the way, first of all, his lawyer jumps in and tries to interrupt it. And then he continues on with what he was saying. Just like the pedophile formerly known as Prince Andrew started to say, see, this couldn't happen because I have this sweat thing where I can't sweat. And, no definition of what it is. This man, Les Wexner, goes, you see, I got this thing where I don't have birthday parties because my family raised me that way. I don't get birthday parties. So what happened is my wife, Abigail, she would throw me these surprise birthday parties and everything. So you just said you had a birthday party, but you just went all around the globe and shit, and they just said you had a birthday party. They didn't even know how you had the birthday party. They said at a birthday party, and you just went out and said that you don't have birthday parties because your mom and dad used to not have birthday parties. So I didn't have birthday parties, but my wife, Abigail, the fuck are you talking about? Why'd you go in a circle and come back to there is a birthday party? Then he gets down to the birthday party shit, and then he goes, you know what? There was such and such there. He remembers the names in detail who was at this fucking birthday party that he had to let them know that he don't normally have birthday parties. But he remembers everybody that was at it. There was this guy, and there was this guy, and there was this guy, and there was this guy, but there wasn't a maester there. Bob wasn't there. So you remember everybody being at said party that you went around in a circle talking about you don't have parties normally, which have shit to do with the topic. Escaping it by acting like he wasn't there at first. I don't throw birthday parties. But then came right and threw himself right back into the party. I don't know if it's because he's old. I don't know. But if I was the one answering questions, I'd be like, you could have skipped all that shit and got right to the party. The extra, didn't need it. Get straight to answering the question. I don't need to know what color underwear you was wearing that week. I don't need to know all that. Tell me where you at the party. Yeah, okay, next question. But that's what he did. And you start to notice a pattern with these people. They try to get themselves out of the situation by saying it couldn't happen because I don't have birthday parties. But then she threw me a birthday party. Threw himself right back in it. Prince Andrew couldn't happen that way. Everything in detail this lady mentioned with Prince Andrew. Or at the time, I don't know if he was Prince Andrew at the time when he had this interview either, but the pedophile formerly known as Prince Andrew, when he had this interview, she asked him about it. He extracted himself from it by saying, I can't sweat. But all the other details, he couldn't take away. Like, that part didn't happen. That part didn't happen. Oh, wait a minute. Right there. She said, I sweat. Automatically say, I can't be there. No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. Because the sweat part wasn't the part that did it. The pedophile shit did. You couldn't say that you didn't have sex with her. You literally had to break down that you don't sweat. And that part does not exonerate you, but that's what he did. Donald Trump does the same thing. He exonerates himself by not even explaining why the hell was he here? Why was he there? I'm exonerated from it. Boom, keeps going. They all play the same game. Find something that may not be true in that conversation and go off on a tangent with that. Instead of dealing with the fact, did you rape her? Did you do this part? Couldn't have done it because I don't sweat. Huh, gotcha. No, you didn't. You just grabbed onto something and tried to make that part the majority part. So, we don't give a shit about the sweat. Did you have sex with her? Of course you did. We got pictures with you with other women hanging out with them. And on top of that, what is it? The pedophile formerly known as Prince Andrew. This man literally tried to tell us that this picture ain't real. This shit was taken before AI. Way before AI. Mm-hmm. And then you got him in the picture. He even said he wasn't friends with Jeffrey Epstein. Then why was his sidekick of pedophilia in the back shot right there? And she said that was her camera, Virginia's camera, and that Jeffrey Epstein took the picture. And then later on, Jeffrey Epstein validated that this was a true picture. It's real. So that undercut and Prince Andrews is fake. So we know he lied. And now we want to see if he tells the truth? No, we want to see you under a jail somewhere, sir. And sir is putting it kindly. I call you a pedophile. We really want to see you under one with a moat of alligators and shit. And you survive or get eaten. And then they they asked Donald Trump today, what did he think of this, of formerly known as the pedophile, formerly known as Prince Andrew? What does he think about that? And listen to what he had to say.
Former Prince Andrew arrested by the police there, related to something with Jeffrey Epstein. Do you think people in this country at some point, associates of Jeffrey Epstein, will wind up in handcuffs too?
Hope so.
Well, I'm the expert in a way because I've been totally exonerated.
No, you haven't. No, you haven't. Here's the thing. I want MAGA, I know you ain't listening to this because you don't like to listen to truth, but I'm going to say it anyway. Nobody says they're exonerated unless they're guilty. Because again, let's deal with exoneration, ladies and gentlemen. Exoneration only comes, if you know the definition, it's a legal definition. It's not like I'm exonerated because I say I am. No, there has to be a legal determination for exoneration. Donald Trump doesn't have that. See, exoneration comes through either a court ruling, doesn't have that, ain't been to court for this. It comes from a prosecutor declining charges with stated innocence. No prosecutor has said he's been innocent at all. They haven't declined charges. They haven't put any charges up. They haven't even investigated the man. Okay? A jury verdict. No jury. They haven't been there yet. We're waiting on this. Okay? And an official investigation conclusion clearing any wrongdoing. They have not cleared him of any wrongdoing because they have not investigated him. They blacked out this information. Now, I want you guys to understand something. We have been, even including myself, talking about all the administrations throughout. And understand it's been going on for like 30 years or whatever it may be. It got on the public radar, government radar, probably earlier than that, but the public radar around 2006, right? And then, that's what, 20 years now. So it was 10 years before that. It was going on, but nobody either knew about it or whatever. I don't know how that stuff worked. But as soon as it came into like the zeitgeist for everybody to know, 2006. All right, then you get, there was this case and it gets down, he serves around 2008 or something like that. All that time he was in it was George Bush. All right. That case had already been settled before Obama became president and before his DOJ and FBI took over. That case had been settled. There was no other cases, even though the FBI had shut it down and closed everything and got rid of it before the reign of President Obama. So that was Bush that it went all under and ended. Then it comes into Trump. Now, I'm not saying, Obama. I'm not saying that, any one of them's cleared. I'm not saying that. I don't believe in, personally, I don't think George Bush knew about it because back then, if everybody remembers this country where it used to run, FBI, DOJ, the president does not touch them. They don't talk to them about anything. The FBI, DOJ, independent, they inform the president if something is like dire to American citizens, any kind of threat, but they didn't report to him on a day-to-day basis. You know what I'm saying? They may give him notes about certain cases, whatever, but it was never that way for Bush or Obama. It didn't happen until Trump, when he started to try and take over these departments, because he didn't want them to find his dirt. He wanted to know what they were doing at all times, because Donald Trump was a crooked fucker the entire time. He was crooked before he came in. So he wanted to be in control of it so they wouldn't be investigating him, because they were already looking at him in New York for some of the shit he was doing. He was trying to get his hands on the federal government to do his bidding. and they weren't doing it. Hence, James Comer, not Comer, but the other one, James Comey, and others. He was trying his best to get them to do his favor, do his bidding, and they said no. Now, we got our own problems with Comey. I get it. But you got to give him credit for not falling under Donald Trump's wing and doing whatever the hell he wanted him to do. Trump tried to bribe him, tell him to come on over to his team. He said no. Trump went after him. He already knew Democrats was pissed at him. So all he had to do was get the Republicans pissed at him. They're going to force him out. Even though we didn't like him, he was pretty much the best bet for us to keep this country in some kind of structure. But either way it went, he went out. Donald Trump started bringing more of his minions and loyalists in. When Donald Trump came in again, that's when Jeffrey Epstein was going under another case around late 2018, 2019. Donald Trump was still president, right? But Donald Trump changed the whole game. He became a part of the DOJ and FBI, having him do his bidding. Bill Barr, again, we all know, if you've been around here long enough, that Bill Barr, his father, I believe, Donald Barr, was connected to Jeffrey Epstein. He is the one who gave him his first job into the elite world as the headmaster of the school, the high school, that Jeffrey Epstein would join and end up as a teacher. I think he's a math teacher or in science. He would join in and later get fired and released and go work for Bear Stearns. So we know that the head of the DOJ at the time was Bill Barr. He's the one who assigned the head of the prison and everything. So he was the head of the prison in which the dude that fucked his dad over, so his dad couldn't get no more jobs after they realized what Jeffrey Epstein had done at the school and what kind of way he was running the school by hiring people with no fucking education and saying, hey, I think they would do a good job for your rich kids. And then, nah, fuck all that. This dude don't know what he's doing and he's fucking with our kids. No, thank you. Bill Barr's father couldn't find another job after that. He worked for government, more Republican bullshit, and he wrote books. And remember, his book was about turning teenagers into sex slaves, underage teenagers. Bill Barr's father. It's kind of weird how he writes books about being a pedophile, but interplanetary pedophile. I'm pissed at that too, because if he had that ideation in his head and he was hiring one, he was a part of it. Now, Bill Barr, I can't say he's the one that put a hit on him, but I can't say that he didn't. He was the head of the prison in which the man died. And as soon as he died, he replaced a person to make it look like he gave a damn that was the head of the prison system. Because why didn't your guards protect him? You're running a terrible prison. Like you didn't know that. And then he ends up dead, and there's all kind of theories, and I'm not into that, but he ends up dead under Bill Barr's leadership, who happened to be the son of the man that helped create this monster, or at least bring him into the higher echelons, meeting these rich people. So he goes to prison. Jeffrey Epstein, he dies. Bill Barr was the head of it then. And what's so crazy is Bill Barr was the head of the DOJ, Republican. Christopher Wray was the head of the FBI, Republican. Donald Trump was the president at the time, controlling them all. And it's just strange how they never investigated anybody to deal pretty much with this entire sex trafficking ring. Jeffrey Epstein died. They put it on the back burner. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. That was it. And they closed it. Except for when Biden came in, they were like, wait a minute. And they went after Ghislaine Maxwell. Well, you should have went after the rest of them. You should have realized what shoddy job the previous people had done and started researching that. You had 4 years when you came in. You had to have known. Let me look at these Epstein files. And had you done that, Merrick Garland, had you done that, you would have seen what we're seeing now. And that's why I say you need to be questioned. You had to have seen what we're seeing now, and you chose to do nothing about it. I know you guys act like, oh, well, I don't want to be political. I don't want to be political. That's what you wanted. I don't want to be political. Don't want to be seen that way. I want to seem like just following the law and order. I'm like, you're still following the law, and it got shit to do with being political. If you go out to somebody who's in politics but breaking the law, how's that politics? That's law and order. So you're trying to tell me just because somebody in politics, you can't charge them because it looks like it's, being biased? How many Democrats don't went to jail? Been charged for shit, been kicked out of positions for doing stupid shit. Many. And Merrick Garland couldn't follow up on that same process that Republicans demand of Democrats, and Democrats usually demand of themselves. I ain't buying that shit. But let's finish off with this orange cretin keeps telling himself and the world, his MAGA people, they like robots. I am exonerated, therefore you must believe it. There's nowhere in any document Donald Trump's been exonerated.
That's very nice. I can actually speak about it very nicely. I think it's a shame. I think it's very sad. I think it's so bad for the royal family. It's a very, very sad. To me, it's a very sad thing. When I see that, it's a very sad thing to see it and to see what's going on with his brother, who's obviously coming to our country very soon, and he's a fantastic man, the king. So I think it's a very sad thing. It's really interesting because nobody used to speak about Epstein when he was alive, but now they speak. But I'm the one that can talk about it because I've been totally exonerated. I did nothing. In fact, the opposite. He was against me. He was fighting me in the election, which I just found out through the last 3 million pages of documents.
This man literally thinks people give a shit about his presidencies. I mean, how stupid can you be? You're literally thinking, they're talking about Prince, or the pedo formerly known as Prince Andrew. Leave that Prince out of Prince Andrew. And you think we give a shit about you. See how he attached himself? I could talk about it. I'm the perfect person to talk about it because I've been exonerated. You notice he has to say exonerated at least 3 times. He did it again. I showed you the video yesterday. He was interviewed a day before that, a day or so when I got that video. And he said he was exonerated 4 times to I think it was a female reporter at the time. Every time he's asked about these files, he's going to say he's exonerated a number of times. It would never be once. It would never be twice, because the brainwashing has to be multiple times. Minimum 3. Brainwashing is a minimum 3 of repetition. You say, this is red, blah, blah, blah. This is red, blah, blah, blah. This is red, blah, blah, blah. What color's in your head? And then you're going to be like, red. That's how they play that game. That's why you see a lot of magicians do the same thing. They'll talk about things, the sun, an orange, blah, 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 blah. Then they'll say like a banana, blah, blah, blah. And what color's in your head? Yellow, more than likely. The orange, you might think orange, but yellow is going to be in your head because they mentioned something 3 times. Banana, banana, banana. What's in your head? Banana or yellow. These people, they become salespeople. A lot of these pieces of shit, not everybody's that way, but they become salespeople because they can be able to get you to do what they want you to do by repetition. By saying something over and over again. Donald Trump keeps calling himself exonerated, a legal term, by the way, that no law nowhere has given him that. And his people, when they listen to him, exonerated, 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 and they'll start using that word. Watch, you're going to start seeing them use it if you haven't already, because this is at least his second or third. I got 2 of them. of him exonerating himself when asked about Jeffrey Epstein. He'll literally, people, I don't know why. Nobody was talking about him before. Now they're talking about him all the time. Like it's a popularity contest. We weren't talking about Jeffrey Epstein. We've been talking about Jeffrey Epstein forever. What the fuck are you talking about? You ran on it. That reverse psychology trying to act like it was never talked about. So why are y'all talking about it? Because it's been talked about ad nauseum. You were out there with the Jeffrey Epstein stuff in the public eye, like millions of people knowing about it. It's not outside of Florida and all shit like that. Started hearing about it through conspiracy theories. You had the MAGA going through every conspiracy theory, talking about people eating people in pizza places and pizza terminology and all of this shit. Like we said, all this shit came from QAnon. Now you go back, where did QAnon come from? It didn't start until Donald Trump became close to Donald Trump being president, and it ended right when his presidency ended. It was nowhere around when Joe Biden was president. Wasn't no QAnon every day. It disappeared. It was a propaganda wing of Donald Trump. They pushed all that shit out when they were in power to get you to do what they're doing. Once they were out of power, they couldn't get you to do this shit because they didn't know the information that they were releasing. All that information was, we got all these people out here releasing information. Information was being released by Donald Trump. It's crazy how Joe Biden came in and there wasn't as many leaks. But it leaked like a sieve under Donald Trump. Every day was a leak. He thought he stole files. What? Just so he can read? This fool don't read. He stole those files to sell them. Donald Trump don't even. Boy, you got people in Donald Trump's that has worked for him that care about him. Like what's her face? I call it a crypt keeper. I forgot her name, but her husband is like against. He's a Republican, but he's against Trump now. Forgot her name, but she's the one who came up with alternative facts. That lady, try to forget her, but that lady was the one who had them believing all in these fucking alternative facts bullshit, telling us that Donald Trump, he doesn't necessarily read, his daily briefings. They make pictures and stuff. It's okay, no big deal. Heifer, it does make a big deal that we're talking about our president won't read the information to keep our country safe so that he knows what the fuck is going on, that you got to draw him some shit looking like Dagwood in order for him to figure it the fuck out. That's a lot. That's a lot to deal with as a country, that we got a dude that needs cartoons written for him so that he understands or can keep his mind on his job. That was under his 2016 reign. And still to this day, they're drawing pictures for this dipshit. Hello, pictures. This man is picture pages. That's how they educate this man on what the country's doing. So who is the artist getting paid to draw this fool out what the hell he needs to have done? The documentation is written up just like everybody else. This is what's going on, this is what's going on. And then you got to give it to an artist. Do you think any of these regular people are artists? And here's the other question. Is the artist a person that literally has clearance to have this documentation to draw it? That's a good question to me. Democrats, all that, whoever the fuck is on the press corps, ask the question of the person drawing these documentations for him, is this gesture, and I don't mean like a gesture like you're talking about, I'm talking about gesture like with the hat on and shit, the little bells and shit for kings, the gesture, is this gesture qualified to be able to know this confidential information that he or she is drawing the fuck out for him? Because it ain't the regular person. It did not come with an artist degree to do the job in which the person who writes this information, because it comes from every department, DOJ, FBI, blah, 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 all put down into notes and bullet points for every president that gets it in their briefings in the morning. Somebody has to get all that information and get to drawing and shit. Does that person have clearance in every one of these fucking departments to draw that? Because that person, whoever it may be, has the nation's secrets in their hands that they're drawing out. See? Bomb. Iran, over here on the map. This guy drawing whatever. I mean, seriously. They've been talking about this since 2016. Ain't nobody ever asked that damn question. Anyway, that's one of the things that has bugged me for the longest time. That we have a president before and now. We reelected a dude that literally needs his job drawn out for him every day to keep his attention. For him to get it. I don't want a Democrat or a Republican with that position as president. If you can't read, stop applying for jobs you're not qualified for, bro. Jesus Christ. Everybody want a title, but don't motherfucking want to do the work to earn it. This man literally can't read worth a damn, can't speak worth a damn, wants the most powerful job in the world because he realized, I ain't got to do shit. Everybody around me should be smart. And then you elect idiots to do the job for you. Stephen Miller, racist idiot. You brought the dude from Hegseth, a loser idiot. You put in head of our military. It's crazy, yo. I just don't get it. I don't get it at all. How this country decided, or even a small percentage of y'all, literally thought you put the village idiot in front of the country and thought he was going to bring it home. And what has he done? He's on a tour right now trying to act like he's doing something for the economy. Did you know they met the Republicans? They met to determine a strategy for the midterms. And what came out of it, at least partially, is that they're losing on the immigration platform. So they're not going to try and run on the immigration platform based on this meeting. The thing they're going to try and run on leading up to it, and he's going to be going out and speaking to people and shit, I guess one's coming up soon, is about economics. He went on a tour, I think, of some factory today, I believe, in Rome, Georgia, where Marjorie Taylor Greene is at, trying to get the person that he wanted. And this crazy dude's like, he backed one dude fully 100%. A couple days later, when I determined to elect somebody or to back somebody, he already did, you dipshit. But anyway, he was there at some factory or another, and they're clapping. It's got to be made up because factories are one of the ones that's going to be hit very fucking hard. AI's taking their jobs like crazy. It's already been out. It's already been in documentation. These are the top 10. I showed you guys the top 10 jobs that they're taking. Manufacturing jobs is one of them. And they're in these manufacturing jobs clapping for the idiot. Oh, and then you got the head of Meta. He went to court and stuff like that. And he's offering up $65 million, of course, in pieces for the entire thing, for any of these politicians running on no regulations or little to no regulations on AI. Craziness. Craziness. And so when you start to pay attention to what, Donald Trump has been doing to this country and going out here trying to speak to people, you're going to start to see them trying to lean toward what they're doing for the economy or promising that they're going to do something for the economy that they're going to start focusing on now. You know how they promised them what they know they're lacking and say, you got to give me more time because I'm really working on that. You see what I did on this? You see what I did on that? Now I'm going to be putting that same energy on economics. And it's bullshit. It's the promise to get you to give them what they want, just like they promised you that they're going to lower the cost of food and items and shit like that. And then once he got elected, he said, you're going to feel some pain first. Well, you should have told them they're going to feel some pain first, the first go round. But you didn't. You told them it's going to be glory the next day. Because it's very simple. I am the only one who can fix it. As soon as he got in, couldn't fix it. You know what he fixed? Tariffs. And I told you, I had family members. My ex family members were farmers and shit. And they voted for Donald Trump. Now, I don't know what their feeling is toward Donald Trump, but I do know their vote for him has fucked up their lives economically. I laugh at the shit. I don't care. It used to be my family. But the reality is this. You chose that because of whiteness, not because of actual benefit. When he was president before, he put y'all in hell with his tariffs. And those tariffs weren't even as bad as these tariffs. Those tariffs were being regulated and saying, you know, they had a House and a Senate that literally was working. Even though it was half-ass working, it was working. It didn't have all these sycophants in it, right? Not that strong, even though he wanted it to be. And he was aiming that direction. He couldn't do what he wanted to do on tariffs. And even what he could do, he destroyed the farming people in this country that you had to get a handout. And then he came in this time when you voted for him. Everybody told you, Project 2025, they're trying to corporatize farming companies, farmers, trying to push you out, buy your land. These billionaires are trying to take over. Nope, you guys went on this racial, oh, I'm so tired of these people complaining about racism. Oh, I'm so tired of, girls wanting to be boys and boys wanting to be girls. Oh, I'm so tired of woke. I'm so tired of pronouns. He got you on a hate train that fucked your life up again. Got your mind. I'm like, when you start to think about these things, ladies and gentlemen, when does any of that shit gonna fuck with your life? Improve it or destroy it? When is it gonna do it? Or, like, for instance, in this scenario with my ex family, you live in a farm in the middle of fucking nowhere. Where trans people at in the country out there? None. Okay, so why does that bother you? It shouldn't, but your disrespect for other people's way of life is weighed more than protecting your own farm and your bottom line. When is trans people performing in any sport in your area? None. Why are you worried about trans people then? Because they ain't affecting your fucking life. None whatsoever, right? Nope. So you just, again, mess your life up for some bullshit ass shit to cling to other people who just hate something different. While at the same time knowing this is the man that did an insurrection. This is the man that fucked your farming life up before. And you remember the part where he gave you a shit ton of money because he fucked your life up. And that was our money when you got that money. You got a bailout. The same shit that farmers bitch and moan about people in the city and people in blue states and shit. Why y'all getting bailouts and you're the main cities and states that these big blue states are paying extra money because y'all broke as fuck and keep making horrible decisions on your farmland, which I believe should be taken away from you. We should do no more. Not how do they say? Nan one more of bailouts for farmers. You got it this time. But people who are elected from here on out, if farmers fuck up, buy the property and sell it to the next man or woman that wants a fucking farm. Do not give them another fucking dime. You get it right this time from now on, or your shit's gone. I don't care if the fucking property's been in your family for a good 1,000 years. I said a good 1,000. I don't give a fuck. Why? Because you need to know how to handle business. And if you can't do it, get the fuck up off the property. Give it to somebody who can. You would do the same thing for people who are sitting out here asking, can you help me with HUD and get me a home? Work for it, You make bad decisions. But your ass will sit there and take bailout after bailout because your ass produced some crappy ass product that other countries don't even fucking want most of the time. I said what I said. Sick of this shit. Always bailing somebody else out, but you ain't got a problem bailing out the brother and sister, whether they be white, Latin, Mexican, whatever they're going through. Whatever they're going through. You don't want to bail them out. But you want to bail out when you fuck up. Think that you're more important because you raise corn and hogs and pigs and shit. We can get it from other countries. If you can't do your job, we can get it from another country. Probably cheaper, probably better. They're making better decisions for the most part. Because they don't beg us for money every fucking few years. Their countries take care of them, except for Argentina. I don't know what it is with America, keep getting it all fucked up. But other countries don't need no money from us. And somehow China can do this shit and we can't. I thought we was the best country in the world. I guess not. We got a bunch of idiots running farms that can't do their fucking jobs right. And we got to keep giving them $1 gazillion every year to keep their farm running. Step out the way and give people another chance to do that farm. Go live in an apartment somewhere. Under a tree. Because you can't do your job, we don't need to be giving you money anymore. We should be saying no more. No more. No mas. No more giving you money. If you can't make it right, step to the side. That's the way I feel about it. Sick of this shit. So today, they released the Les Wexner document, him being deposed. It's almost 5 hours. You can find it online. It's almost 5 hours long. And I've seen a little bit of it. I haven't seen all of it. I'm going to have to watch it over a few days or something like that. But it is crazy. This man should not be in position, in the position that he's in. I ain't talking about economically. He should be behind bars, I believe. You can't tell me you was around all this shit and you never saw anything. They asked him all these questions and he lied. He was under oath. So now that he lied under oath, I expect the Democrats for you to be charging him for lying under oath. Because you got documentation of him literally saying, that's my friend. And he said he wasn't a friend. And I think I told you earlier, but this fool literally tried to say that they asked him, do you think that Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein were ever friends? Do you understand that this Les Wexner literally said no? He doesn't believe Donald Trump was his friend, but he believed that Jeffrey Epstein made it look like that, basically. You got Donald Trump literally saying he was a friend of mine way back in the day, being close friends. Even talked about they both like young girls, and Jeffrey Epstein likes them a little younger. Donald Trump was liking them at 15, 16, 14, going behind the Miss Teen pageant and seeing them naked. So you like them 15, 14, 13, 14, 15, 16. He likes them younger? Boy. Anyway, that's what Les Wexner was doing out there, trying his best to act like he didn't know nothing about what was going on. We all know better than that. We all know better than that. They need to bring, this is for the Democrats, Mr. Garcia, and also for, the House is the only one doing it, so it's got to be the House, Garcia, because the Senate is, they don't have any kind of deposition or anything like that going on. That would be Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie. But you got to bring Representative Garcia. You got to focus on also bringing Christopher Wray. Ask him why he did not investigate it. Bill Barr, ask him why he didn't investigate it and why he didn't expose that he had a conflict of interest to be even over this, seeing how Jeffrey Epstein and his father is the person who helped create Jeffrey Epstein. Without him, there would be no Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein would have never got into the rich echelon without Bill Barr's father. Understand me? And without Bill Barr's father, and then him going to and the referral from Jeffrey Epstein going, like Bill Barr. Now we got to find out who that is. It has been said that Bill Barr is the one who referred him to the person at Bear Stearns to get him the job. I don't know if that's just been said. I haven't been able to validate that, but we need to figure that out. That person ends up referring, and he worked for that Bear Stearns for a little while, then became a part of the world of Les Wexner and becoming wealthier beyond his wildest dreams and stealing money that Les Wexner says he didn't know was happening, which I call bullshit. But you've got to ask the question and depose Christopher Wray, why he didn't do it, because it didn't make any sense. He was ahead of the time in which 2019. Why didn't you speak to Les Wexner? FBI lead, why didn't you? Did you get an order from Donald Trump not to do it? Did you get an order from anybody else not to do it? Same with Bill Barr. Why didn't you do it? And why didn't you, like again I said, why didn't you divulge that guy was connected to your father? And that you may have an axe to grind with him. That you should have pushed yourself away from this case and got somebody else who wouldn't have been biased to be head of this situation in some way, shape, or form. You didn't do that. You didn't expose what your connection was to Jeffrey Epstein, which is crazy, right? And of course, Donald Trump. I don't know if they can do it as far as president, whether they can make him stand up and in front of everybody. I'm not sure with that immunity bullshit that the Supreme Court gave him. It's crazy how other countries are leading the way. I thought America was the greatest country in the world. There hasn't really been anybody in this country that's been held accountable for these actions except for Ghislaine Maxwell. Jeffrey Epstein, I don't know if he got killed or killed himself, but it looks like he got killed because of the fact, and some people say he's still alive, he's seen whatever. But it looks like if he got killed because, again, he went to court before, went into jail before, went in and came out. There's no reason why he would not believe that he couldn't get out of this too. He still had dirt on everybody. On every last person he had dirt. So them coming out to him in 2019, what's the difference between that and 2006, 2008? So why take my life when I know I got more dirt on everybody and I can get out of it? I did it before. I don't get this guy as a person who gives up. No matter who came forward, I don't get him as a person who gives up. His last case couldn't have been brought to this case. So his last case, he was basically got caught, but then he had all this evidence for other people squashed, so nobody else can get charged. Now they caught him again for shit that he did in between the last time, I'm guessing 2008, all the way up to 2021, or 2019 rather. Or 18, whatever they had on him. And now he couldn't get out of it. He didn't even try. Just saying. I don't know what kind of conversation he had with his lawyer. It's confidential, but I don't know what kind of conversation he had with Alan Dershowitz or whomever, because if you got him off once before, sweetheart deal. This time, still could have got a sweetheart deal for him. Donald Trump's trying to hide it crazily. Back then, Bill Barr. Don't know whether Bill Barr said something to him. But we don't know all that information, but we need to know. That's why you need to bring Bill Barr. Ask him, did he have a conversation at all with Jeffrey Epstein? Any contact with Jeffrey Epstein while he was in prison? What's the extent of his relationship, his father's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein? And how much of it did you know about? Did you partake in anything that they did back in those days? Of course, he's gonna say no, but again, watch how he reacts to it. Does he get pissed? Does he stay calm? You can pretty much tell sometimes. Even people who pretend like they have no tell, you can still tell some things. Based off his record of being in the public eye for so long, where we knew he lied and where he told the quote unquote truth about something that we knew was truthful, we can gauge that and see what happens. But this country says it's the best country in the world. And it's crazy how over the pond they're holding people accountable for their actions out of these Epstein files. Whether they were connected to Jeffrey Epstein and sent letters or whatever it may be, it's like, we don't need you in our company. If you was cool with somebody after he was a pedophile and known to be a pedophile and still say, oh, I love you, and call him Uncle Jeff, you need to go. You need to go. If that's your standard, if these kids, or not even these kids did go through child sex trafficking and you stood by the person doing it, gots to go. Gots to go. I don't want you a part of my company. We have people, and rightfully so, that will call somebody out of their name, whether it be like a slight toward their sex, toward their race, toward their height, toward their weight, and jobs will be like, gotta let you go. You mean to tell me I can get fired from a job by calling somebody overweight on air or wherever on social media, and then my boss could call me in and say, you call somebody overweight and we don't want to be, and then they send out a letter, we do not agree with his opinion of this, that, and the third, we love all people, and I could get let go legally. And these people in other countries and so forth, they're abiding by that. You got a letter you wrote to Jeffrey Epstein after he was a pedophile, talking about you love him and trying to figure out ways. This goes for Steve Bannon too, and the MAGA people. This man was trying to turn this man's life around. Steve Bannon was taking money from this man to create a documentary to change your mind on Jeffrey Epstein. There's a reason why he hasn't released those files, the hundreds of hours he says he has, or 90 hours, whatever the fuck he got. It's never going to come out. You understand that, right? It's never going to come out. Why won't it come out? Because that was a plan to revitalize his career. He may have said some things in there to get people, try the different strategies. You're a monster to a lot of people. Do you really feel like you're a monster? And you'll probably see, you're a monster to a lot of people, but you won't see the response to that. Do you really think you're a monster? Because I don't. You're a good guy. You really. That's what he was doing, trying his best to try A/B testing. If you've ever been in marketing, A/B testing is basically creating two versions of something and see how they hit with a core group of people. You may put 4,000 people together, put a bunch of these MAGA people together and say, we'll pay you $50, whatever, $100 for a couple hours. And you show them one version and you show them another version, see how they react and respond. Or you show two different groups the same video and see how they respond to both of it. And that's how you start to kind of like figure out what your video is doing. And that's what Steve Bannon was doing, literally trying his best to get the country, the world, to start seeing this man in a different light. Knowing he knew he was a pedophile, didn't matter. I'm going to revitalize your life. Look what I did for Donald Trump. He's just like you. You think Jeffrey Epstein didn't tell Steve Bannon that Donald Trump was a part of all this? You think he didn't tell him that? Of course he did. Of course he did. Steve Bannon knew about Donald Trump's world. He knew he was doing this shit. He didn't care because people love Trump. So here we are. All these people being a part of this Jeffrey Epstein world, and overseas, they're meeting all kinds of like law and order, which we said we were. And here we are. We got the head person, president, is a pedophile, being accused of it by more than one teenager, right? Underage child, has been accused of being a sexual assaulter by at least 30 women, late 20, 26 of them or something like that, 28, at least close to 30 women, has been charged with sexual assault, which a judge says you can call rape, E. Jean Carroll, and was it $80 million or so, 84, whatever it is that he owes her, which we don't know if she ever got. And all that. And still, we Where's evidence? By the ponderance of evidence, you should say. There's too many people, too many scenarios, and they all made them up. The details and all, just made them up. This country, I'm sorry to say, not all of us, but you got to take this country as a whole. We're sick. Okay? We will believe the criminal before we believe the person who is the victim. Especially if that victim is a minority, and astronomically if it's a woman. If it's a woman. That's sick. Because when somebody says something and give you detail about what happened, and the person who is accused of doing it, all he has to say, and he has to say is not true. And you run with the not true, he doesn't have to give you a detail. He doesn't have to tell you, that couldn't have been me. I was in Tokyo at the time that she's talking about this happened. It wasn't me. Look at the camera. Here's my blood. Check it. That wasn't me. You got any DNA? That person is trying to prove their innocence. These people are trying their best to tell you to shut up talking about it. Donald Trump don't call this shit a hoax. We know it's not a hoax. So Donald Trump has said that he's been exonerated. He hasn't been exonerated. Donald Trump has tried to say that, we need to get over it and stop talking about this dude. Let's talk about something else. He's done everything he could to shut this down. Well, he has never said he felt sorry that we've seen for these women to go through what they went through. He's never showed any empathy or sympathy for them. Neither has anybody in his core group. You had Kash Patel. You had Dan Bongino. By the way, they had like a little love fest on Dan Bongino's podcast at his back, doing horrible numbers, but better numbers than me, of course, but horrible numbers compared to what he was before. But he's just starting again. But when you start to watch them, if you get a chance to see this, I could barely watch a lot of it. I was like, this is just sickening. He never asked a question about the Epstein files. Had Kash Patel on, Dan Bongino never brought up Epstein files. And when you saw Dan Bongino prior to going into the office and working for the FBI, this fool was every day talking about the Epstein files. I believe, this is my own opinion, that Dan Bongino came back out of here so that he can squash it and get them talking about other topics. Because this man was talking about everything under the sun, shit that nobody's really caring about. He's trying to make up other kind of conspiracy theories to spin him another direction off of the Epstein files. Dan Bongino, I'm going to tell you something. You're not going to get us or anybody to stop caring about the Epstein file. You can go off with your other, conspiracy theories, but you know what we're going to do? We're going to pay attention to them, because when we pay attention to a conspiracy theory, we more than likely know whatever conspiracy you're coming up with, you got it from Donald Trump, which literally means we need to start looking at Donald Trump for everything that Dan Bongino starts to say. If he says anything about another conspiracy theory, look into Donald Trump's past, because that's where he's getting his information from. Anything that deals with Donald Trump is going to be coming out of Dan Bongino's mouth, but pushed toward liberals, Democrats, woke, all the little key buzzwords that get these people all antsy and excited and give them life. These MAGA people. Just keep it in mind. You hear anything that Dan Bongino says about any conspiracy theory that he tries to push toward the left, just know he got that information from Donald Trump. Look at Donald Trump's past and the people around Donald Trump's past that had to deal with Jeffrey Epstein. I guarantee you it's coming from them. That's how we found out about the Jeffrey Epstein files. For us who are not MAGA, is that we learned, I did, through these MAGA people who was bringing up everything under the sun. And now that we look through these documents, the shit they were saying, many of it, came from the Epstein files. Which makes you wonder, did Christopher Wray and Bill Barr get information out of these files and start pushing them behind the scenes with this QAnon shit? With Donald Trump, of course, so that they could muddy the waters and make it look like the Democrats are doing these things, and didn't realize that these files would ever, ever, ever come out? Because it's odd how whoever was pushing all of this shit with the MAGAs, they knew these files because we're finding them in the files. It only would make sense that this QAnon shit was really Donald Trump and his minions putting out this information secretly and pushing it toward Democrats so that we wouldn't, like Democrats wouldn't be listening to it. Please, we ain't doing nothing like that. Ain't nobody doing nothing like that. And pushing it to them and getting them riled up about the shit they did. And now these MAGAs, they're pissed off. They've been pissed off at Dems, and what Dan Bongino and Kash Patel had to have found out. When they got those files, they realized all the shit they were spewing was mostly about Trump. They already deep in. So now they can't even talk about the Epstein files. Dan Bongino won't say nothing about them. Had a whole interview, hour or whatever it was, with cockeyed Kash Patel. Didn't even mention it once. Not once. The champions of it. The ones who threw the conspiracy out and told you how the FBI works. I used to work for the FBI. So go look at, I don't want you to have to do that, but maybe you can type up just a video of Dan Bongino back in the day talking about the Epstein files and how the FBI works. He was blaming the FBI at the time, Christopher Wray and all these other people. They're doing this and they're doing this because I know how it works. I used to work there and blah, 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 blah. And then they got those positions and mum's the word. The things they said they was going to do that Christopher Wray should have done, they got in and did not do. Because just like Christopher Wray, they found out once they got in, the dude they was doing all this hollering and screaming for, the orange pedophile in chief, that was the one who was doing it, alongside a few other people that Donald Trump keeps in his circle. And they've been quiet. Nothing to see here. Epstein killed himself. All this bravado that they had, acting like they were just like the strong bros, we could do this, and they straight wussies when it came to Donald Trump going in and finding out how dirty he was. How you open these files and read it and learn that there's somebody who blamed Donald Trump for killing a baby. And you're like, well, it was just an accusation. You didn't have that much and you was calling Biden a pedophile. Nobody even came out and said, he was messing with me. Nothing. No documentation, not a thing. And you already called him one a shit ton of times. But Donald Trump has not only been called one, he's literally been taken to court. Well, it didn't go all the way through court, but there was documentation filed, allegations and 302s of what he did. And you're like, that's not evidence. But a picture of Joe Biden kissing his grandkid is. Boy, I'm done with these people. Exactly. Learning to love myself. Like I said, Bill Barr was the head of the DOJ in 2019. Like I said, if you look at Bill Barr, you'll also see that Bill Barr's father is one of the people who helped Jeffrey Epstein get into position, to get into power. He's the one who hired him at the Dalton School with the elite students and connected him with the elite parents. And it was one of the elite parents that pushed him to get a gig at the, at least there was one reference of one of the daughters of the guy who got got Jeffrey Epstein a job at Bear Stearns. What was his name? Do I still have that information? Oh yeah, Bear Stearns. Alan Greenberg. Alan Greenberg was the person who learned of Jeffrey Epstein after he had gotten fired from the Dalton School, the elite school in Manhattan, I believe, New York. Yeah. Just go follow their lives, man. You'll get some real information from what happened with them and how these things went about. But yeah, it's crazy as hell. Oh, and I got a couple more things that's I want to talk about. One that happened I saw today. And outside of the Epstein files, just the way our government's running, I want to speak to the Democrats who are in leadership. If we're going to elect you, which we are, but it depends on which ones we elect. We need y'all to start talking about corruption and people you think should be investigated and possibly jailed, because the American people do not like to get robbed, right? And I don't know if you guys noticed, but Kristi Noem is getting, or at least trying to get, in the paper was said, in October of last year, they said she had got it already, paid for it, but I'm not sure. But she's requesting it again, a $70 million jet. Y'all, just look under Kristi Noem, $70 million jet online. And there's a 3D version. I don't know if you'll see it when it pops up or if it's just on news or whatever. But there's a 3D version that takes you throughout the plane. I want you to understand something. This plane, this jet, accommodates 14 people. 14. The reason why she says that they need this jet is because they're going to expedite the immigrants that are in this country. Like, they're just going to take them out of the country or whatever the hell it is. They need it for that. And also for work, for her job as being Kristi Noem. She needs to have this for her position. But you know how they do. They lie. And they try to get you to give them something based off of what their people are pissed off more about, and that's immigration. So yeah, give it to her for immigration. But just like some of these crappy ass pastors out here talking about, I need it because Jesus said I need to fly in $100 million jet. If Jesus said so, then I shall be so. And those who don't like it, don't like it. Jesus told me in the middle of the night. She's telling her little dipshit MAGA people that it's just that way because you hate those people just like I do. And we just going to have to kick them out of the country. So what if it's luxury taking them out of the country? Let's just kick them out the country. Go MAGA. And these dipshits are like, oh, well, yeah, great. MAGA, go look at this jet. You ain't never going to be able to be in a jet like that. Ever, ever. And you're telling me you want immigrants that you can't stand to have 85-star service? Not 85-star service. This shit's insane. And you think that that's what they deserve. You want them to go in a cargo plane, not in a beautiful luxury jet, right? I would think. You hateful bastards want that. I don't want it because it's a waste of our money. $70 million. Do you understand, as far as first ladies in this country, the woman who's married to the most powerful man in the world, she don't have a jet like that. So why in the flying fuck would you give Kristi Noem, the dog-killing, bumpy-faced bastard, a full-on jet filled with luxury? 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1 walk-in shower. For what? It makes no sense. That's why I say, Democrats, I don't care what happens. You have got to chase this down. Don't be trying to come in and enjoy the jet because she did. Sell that bitch as soon as you get in. Do your best to arrest her for corruption. She didn't need no $70 million jet. Take the money that you get back from that jet and put it back into the economy for us. The hell with all that. They already got plane. Here's the thing that kills me, y'all. Joe Biden and his wife and his staff just completed these same fucking jobs without the luxury jets. And all of a sudden they need them to complete their jobs. What in the flying fuck were the people doing prior to these jets being built for you? This lap of luxury for you to do your job. You are a servant. This is not a kingdom. You don't get to have a jet like these billionaires from these countries who are fucking dictators. The hell is up with this? This has got to stop. And everybody doing it, from Kristi Noem to Kash Patel. This dude took a multi-million-dollar jet just so that he can go watch ice hockey or some shit like that. Our jet. You could have took a fucking plane like anybody else and took your fucking people with you. You're going to take our jet, spend $75,000 for you to go over to watch the Olympics because you like ice hockey. Turn on a damn TV. The fuck is he talking about? 75 grand. It should come out of your pocket. This is your personal traveling. It ain't got shit to do with the people's business. You are not a king. You are not to be worshipped outside of your fucking job. Bring your detail with you. But you shouldn't be spending our money going on vacations and shit. That's the president. We'll do that. But for you, They would not, if any one of these people previous years had done what they're doing now, we would want to put them under the jail. What's the difference between this and the Democratic senator? I forgot his last name. I think it was Garcia. I don't know if his last name. I keep forgetting it. But I do know his daughter is on MSNBC. But him and his wife, supposed that she had a car. He had gold bars and money in his clothes and shit at his crib. That guy. It was his second time being charged for corruption. How in the hell did these people got gold bars, shit that's worth whatever, tens of thousands or whatever, maybe 100,000, and these people are literally taking 70 million, one person, over 70 million of our dollars for their own personal gain? No, sir. No, ma'am. These people need to see the inside of a jail, the bottom of the jail, underwater jail. I don't care. You need to get them out of the position and charge them. Go through the law. I ain't talking about just grabbing somebody, throw them in jail. I'm all about due process. But what they're doing can't be legal. And if it is, Democrats, change that shit up and make a law as soon as you got power to stop that from you and anybody else. Your job is to come in and be of service to people, not to come there and become rich off the people. If you become rich off the people, at least you should be doing a great service for us. Not this subpar bullshit. All right. So yeah, Kristi Noem was out here playing Americans for a fool. And the other country that's doing better than us, which is crazy as hell, the South Korean president was found guilty of insurrection. What Donald Trump should have been found guilty of back when he did it. South Korea rightfully found their president guilty of insurrection. Donald Trump should have been found guilty of it as well. I thought we was a better country. How? Every country's showing us up. Showing that we don't know what law and order actually fucking means. Crazy. The two-party system, get rid of it. I'm like, we need to figure something out and we need to agree on it. Either elect people who are good and have them determined to get in there and change the laws from the inside out, because this doesn't make sense to me. I don't want any party coming in and buying $70 million jets just for the hell of it. I think she's supposed to get 2 jets too. I'm like, what do you need a second one for? And they're taking like a page out of dictators' books. that Donald Trump has this luxury jet and he wants his people to travel in luxury too, because they are better than us, the average citizen. And I'm telling you, people don't forgot, just because we're dealing with a bunch of shit, that these people are trying to take over our government and turn it into a dictatorship. I have not forgotten that. It is not something that's gotten off of my radar. I know for a fact that's their plan. Project 2025 told me so. Now, they've run into some bumps because their party is not as solid as it used to be. Because these Epstein files that they got them all riled up about and told them it was all the Democrats, they're starting to see that fall apart, and that Donald Trump is closer to them than they wanted him to be. They didn't think Donald Trump was connected to this man. Thought it was all lies. Files come out, it's all truth. And now many of them are freaking out. Others are fighting to the death. It's not facts. It's not true. It's not blah, blah, blah. You can keep your head in the sand all you want. But once you bring it back up, the man's still going to be a pedophile. At least charged that way. From people I trust more than I will ever trust a Trump. Tell you that. So if Kate Johnson and all the other women, are you still out there? And if you ever hear this in your lifetime, I believe you. 1,000%. I'm unwavering on it. I believe you. You don't have to convince me. I'm already convinced. And I'm sorry you had to go through it. And we're going to continue fighting until you get justice. I say that with my full heart and 10 toes down. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to get up out of here. Much love to y'all. Keep paying attention to what's going on in the news. Make sure that you know what's going on for you and your families, like, you know, the things that they're doing. Prepare yourself. There is in March, No Kings rally coming up again. If anybody decides to go, understand a lot of people don't want to do it anymore or don't want to do it. I will be doing it, I'm not usually that person. I'm usually fighting from the inside out, but you know, I'm still going to be out there doing what I can. I don't know if I'm gonna go live out there. I might. So I gotta actually make a sign. I don't even know what the hell the sign, because usually I don't prepare ahead of time. I'm like, but now I know it's coming in March. I forgot the exact date, but I'll let you know. So we're gonna continue doing that, fighting for everybody. And I appreciate you guys. I'll see some of you guys tomorrow. I appreciate it. You guys have a good night. You be safe. And I'll say, I haven't in a minute been able to say a few things. Thank you for being members. Dennis, I appreciate you. Thank you for that. Demetrius, I appreciate you. Of course, who else we got in here? DJ, you know I appreciate you. I say both of them. I said Dennis and Demetrius. I'm sure I did. As it pops up. Oh, 21 Denver girl. Appreciate you. You know what I mean? Jazzy. Appreciate you. I'm still going through some Woke Mike. I appreciate you. Is Woke Mike? It looks like it wasn't a member, but that's okay. I get it. Nina. Appreciate you. Vera. I appreciate you. If I don't get the chance to say it, if I miss your name, going back up to the top, I appreciate it. I think that's it. I know I didn't see Mark today. I know he's a member still too. All right. Thanks to all the members. I love y'all. Y'all have a good night. I'll see you when I see you.